On this episode of the What to Watch Guys, we'll tell you about a sci-fi slasher about the dangers of AI, a show about serial killer profiling, and a remake of a classic 60s Western. All that plus our YouTube picks of the week and a whole lot more.
Awesome. Welcome, guys.
Hey.
Have you guys been following the writer's strike? Because I think that's kind of important. We maybe should talk about that for a minute.
Well, but it's I guess it's what's going on.
Yeah, well, the Writers Guild of America is on strike, and it's having a huge impact on the industry. They've been on strike for a couple weeks now, and their basic demands are increased residuals for streaming, very important, better health care, and increased minimum pay. But what's really driving this, I think, and others have said, is streaming. Streaming has changed everything.
Yeah, a lot of lost revenue.
And it's important to kind of understand that, I think.
Now, how is that losing revenue for them exactly?
Well, here's what happened. First of all, going back, the last time they had a strike and they renegotiated their contract, the Writers Guild didn't take streaming into account. They didn't take it seriously. It wasn't anything to worry about.
Okay, yeah.
So the rules are very different for broadcast network television than it is for streaming. Streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, all of them have completely changed the business model. And if you just think about it, here's some examples. Streaming like Netflix and Prime and all those, you watch a season, it's 8 episodes, 10 episodes, right? Maybe 12.
Right.
And then it might be 2 years before another season comes out. So the need for writers is much lower than, broadcast network TV where you got 20 plus episodes. These guys and women sign a contract as writers and they have 9 months of work and then a hiatus for a couple months and they come right back and start for the next season. That's not the case with streaming. And things like they have a minimum basic agreement requirement in their contract, the writers. That says when you hire me, you have to keep me for a certain amount of time. You have to pay me a minimum kind of amount, but it doesn't apply to streaming.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I understand that when it comes to streaming, and especially some of the kind of reality-driven things, they bring the writers in for a few weeks to kind of frame out
great point.
What's going on.
That's a great point.
And then they bring in other non-guild writers.
Well, that's
to fill in all
happening a lot, and what they call that is mini rooms. And what they're not allowed to do that with network broadcast television based on their contract, but with streaming, the producers can hire a small team, like 3 or 4 writers, bring them in for 3 or 4 weeks, outline an entire season, each episode, what's going to happen, and then they're gone. And then the showrunner brings in, like you said, either non-union or they might have to hire union, but much lower wage people just to iron out the plots. So that's another one of the big complaints. And the final demand, and this is interesting to me, AI. The Writers Guild is really concerned about AI. Yeah. They're afraid that showrunners are going to use AI to write scripts. They're going to bring them in for a week to set up basically what going to happen in each episode. And then
are they afraid that the AI is going to be better?
Well, they're just afraid they're not going to get paid, know?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's interesting. And
I was affected by the writer's strike years ago. Back in '87, I was a regular extra and stand-in on a couple of shows, and the Writers Guild came, and suddenly I had to find a regular day job,
real job.
So, and that was over video. It was the same kind of thing. It was. I'm pretty sure it was 1987, and it was and the video the issue then was video production, so and residuals from video sales, so
from rentals and stuff. Yeah.
So
well, it's the same kind of idea. They didn't foresee the issues, so they've been on strike for I think 3 weeks, and so far nothing has been published about any kind of movement. So
all right, well we'll keep up with that and see what transpires. So do you guys remember the Child's Play movie series franchise back in
the creepy doll? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Chucky. Remember Chucky?
Yeah,
Chucky.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
Well, the film I'm doing this time is called M3GAN. And it's now available on the Peacock Network. You can also find it on Amazon Prime. It's kind of like a digital age version of Child's Play. It's directed by Gerald Johnstone, and it stars Allison Williams as Gemma, a robotics expert who works for this high-tech toy company. And she's been working on developing a child-sized humanoid robot doll controlled by artificial intelligence. She calls it the Model 3 Generative Android, or M3GAN for short. And
that's what it is.
And it's, a remarkable piece of technology. Well, now, in the movie, when her sister and brother-in-law are killed in an auto accident, their 8-year-old daughter, Gemma's niece, Katie, played by Violet McGraw, comes to live with Gemma. Now, she's a young single woman still and trying to, make a splash in her job and all of the demands of work and everything. It's not an ideal situation for her or for the little girl. But, she does the best she can. And she decides that to kind of help Katie through her difficult and often lonely time, she brings home a finished prototype of the M3GAN doll. And the M3GAN doll is played by Amy Donaldson, who's actually a dancer from New Zealand. And she kind of becomes a quasi-companion for the little girl. Now, part of M3GAN's programming is to bond with her primary user, the young Katie, and M3GAN begins to learn more and do more, and soon kind of takes on the role as Katie's caregiver and protector. This leads to M3GAN becoming very aggressive, towards any outsider whom she might consider a potential threat, and including a neighbor, one of Katie's classmates at school, and even at one point, her Aunt Gemma. So, and complicating all this is while all is going on, the toy company now sees what this android can do, and they're going cha-ching, and soon they're heavily invested in developing and marketing, this technological wonder as a multi-$1,000 child's toy, high-end child's toy. So M3GAN is now both the little girl's best friend and the company's breakthrough product. Well, all this gets very complicated, and as you might expect, violence ensues. And so the movie
didn't see that coming.
The movie's tense. It's full of those dark, foreboding, don't go there moments.
Right. Don't open that closet. Yeah.
The girl who plays M3GAN does a really remarkable job, I think, of looking both mechanical and human in a strange kind of way. And kind of maybe as an homage to the Child's Play movies. In one scene, she actually starts to look frightening like a female Chucky. So,
really?
As a fan of the whole, I always like those slasher movies, the horror genre. I liked it. And if you like that kind of movie, you'll really enjoy M3GAN on the Peacock Network, also available on Amazon Prime.
All right. Seen a clip for it.
Yeah. I think M3GAN kind of looked like Scarlett Johanssaw.
Yeah, almost like an 8-year-old Scarlett Johansson. Yeah.
Okay, now if you like westerns, I saw a great one. It's a remake of the 1960s film Magnificent Seven, and this time it stars Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke, and Vincent D'Onofrio. Anyway. It's a great time. They get seven gunmen come together, and they go to avenge a widow whose husband was gunned down by a group of like a private army of these really destructive industrialists. So anyway, the 7 gunmen, they come around and they obviously go to war with these guys. I don't want to ruin the ending for you, but it's really well done. It's funny. Denzel Washington does a great job. He
always?
Yes.
Yeah, he's great.
He plays a really good gunslinger. And Chris Pratt does a great job too, and he's really funny. So
is he really? So it has more humor than the 60s
you can't
one.
have Chris Pratt without humor. I mean,
right.
And Ethan Hawke sort of plays a troubled guy, gunslinger who's overcoming some issues. But it's a really well put together movie. It's a great, if you like Westerns, this is a great one. Really entertaining. Lots of fun. So check out The Magnificent Seven on Amazon Prime.
Seems like Westerns are kind of coming back.
I hope so. And you know what? We were talking another episode about box office draws, who you go to see just because of the name. Denzel Washington.
Denzel, for
Definitely.
sure.
I'll see anything he's in. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's a great actor. Well, I'm doing a show on Netflix, a television series that's actually, I'm going to consider one you might have missed, because it's not a new show. But I think a lot of people missed out on this show. It's called Mindhunter, and it came out in October of 2017. They only did 2 seasons. I don't understand why, because it's that genre of true crime, serial killers, and it's incredibly well acted and well written and well produced. It's a very high budget, like I said.
Well, that's a really popular genre.
I know. I'm surprised it didn't. I think I read somewhere that the budget was huge on this show, and that they just didn't have the numbers in the first 2 seasons to keep going. It's based on a book. It's a book called Mindhunter: Inside the FBI's Elite Serial Crime Unit by John E. Douglas and Mark Olshaker. It's a gripping kind of edge your seat type of show about the early days of when the FBI created this task force to do profiling of serial killers, how that came about. So there's not like they're chasing down bad guys. It's not that kind of cop show. It's more, what's creepy about this show and what's extremely well done is what they do is they travel around the country, go to prisons, and they interview serial killers who are in prison. And what they're doing is creating a database, basically, of their motivations, their childhoods, their upbringing,
right,
and what
just what makes them tick.
What makes them tick, and what the hell made them turn into a serial killer? So that's how it happens. There's 2 agents. Holden Ford, played by Jonathan Groff, and Bill Tench, is played by Holt McElhaney. But what sets this show apart really is it's not just a cop show, but they get real in depth into the personal lives of these 3 main players. And they all have stuff going on in their lives, which are affecting their job, the interactions they're having. And some of it gets pretty deep, which I won't get into because I don't want to spoiler, but it's like, whoa. So it's definitely well written, well produced. It's a very good show, and it's one you might have missed. I recommend you check out the show called Mindhunter on Netflix, and maybe they'll bring it back.
Well, that sounds cool. That's kind of stuff that just kind of chills you to the bone kind of stuff.
Oh, man.
And people just love that.
Yeah, you finish an episode and you're like, oh, after they interview these creeps,
you really need to watch something lighthearted after that.
Yeah, comedy or something. Yeah.
Well, as we always like to do here on the What to Watch guys, we have some information about some of the great stuff that you'll find right here on YouTube. And I'm going to kick things off this time with the show. Now, do you guys ever wonder about the products and the brands that you buy all the time, how they got started, how long they've been? I mean, some of these things we bought been around since we were children and before. Sure. Well, this is a YouTube channel. It's called Business Stories. And it's a great place to learn about products and companies that have they become household names. And, we find out some of the true stories behind them, like the disturbing history of Volkswagen. Do you guys know who, actually founded the Volkswagen company?
Wasn't it some Nazi?
It was Hitler.
Hitler. Was it? Yeah.
He wanted a car for the German people, and he ordered the state-owned manufacturer called the People's Car Company, or in German, the Volkswagen Works.
Creepy.
And the stories are amazing
for me, bro.
They're full of surprises, and you should definitely, it's that kind of stuff that the insights that you go, whoa, I had no idea. Check it out.
That's interesting.
Business Stories on YouTube.
Great. What, did Mussolini start Pepsi?
He called it a Pepsi, a cola.
Well, if any of you out there are foodies, I got a great YouTube channel. It's called Sam the Cooking Guy. And it's this guy, Sam, imagine that. He's from Southern California. He owns a couple restaurants. And he has this great outdoor kitchen in his backyard. And he does these cooking videos. And he just has really cool takes on pretty traditional recipes. He'll do like a lot of burgers. He did like a gourmet Big Mac. He does his mom's lemon chicken. A lot of this is really wholesome, comfort food. But he always has like a little cool twist to it. And
that's neat.
He also sort of claims that his food it's really good for entertaining. Especially if you just have the guys over for to watch the game, it's the kind of food, a lot of food you eat with your hands. And he also claims that food is very good munchies, and I will vouch for that. It really is.
Have you tried some of the recipes yourself?
Yes, I have. He puts out videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. He's been doing this since 2011.
Oh wow!
He has 3.5 million followers. And he's had over 500 million views. So
nice.
He's a great guy. He's funny.
Wow.
Funny. He does it with his son. His son Max produces it, it's really well done. I think he's hilarious. Yeah, he's definitely a guy's guy kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, I love to cook. I'm going to try some of these recipes.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out. I got a page called The Skin Deep. And it might not be for everyone, but it's a kind of a moving page. And what it is, and they've been around a long time too, they put two people sitting in chairs across from each other with a coffee table, and that's it. And there's no interviewer, but it's essentially an interview show. And what they have is a stack of cards, and they don't know what's on the cards. And they lift them up and ask each other questions. The two people are somehow connected. Now, a lot of the ones I've seen will be ex-lovers.
So I take it they're not generic questions. They're questions written specifically for that. For that situation.
Oh,
and that's what.
So it's not like Cards Against Humanity or something like that.
No, it's like whoever puts the show together, and you see the gentleman who does it occasionally. They've taken the time to know these people, know their story, and then they write questions that are deep. What did he do to you of all the time you were together that hurt you the most? That kind of stuff,
Wow.
It's like, wow. Yeah, that's fascinating. Like, I just watched one the other day. It's a woman and a man who dated for years, and they broke up because one had to move to work or something, and they hadn't seen each other. And they brought them together with these cards, and it's emotional, because they're seeing each other for the first time, and they'll ask questions like, what did you think the first time you saw her? And they would be like, oh my God, how do you react to that? So it's a lot of fun to watch. It's called The Skin Deep. It's interesting, and it's pretty popular. So check it out.
Cool. Well, that's our show for this week, folks. And we're really glad you just stopped by. We sure would love to hear from you. So give us your thoughts. Send your questions, your suggestions, anything you want to tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check us out on social media. And we'll see you next time on the What to Watch, guys.